Well, hello there, Cancer. How are you? It is so good to see you again. I'm Mary Sue, and I'm so grateful that you're here. So, today we're doing a little bit of a special reading because February is the month of love. We're going to ask the universe what special thing is headed your way, what special blessing or opportunity is headed your way, a special gift from the universe to show how much you are truly loved. So, we'll take a look first at the blessing, and then we'll go to the tarot to take a look at how this blessing may come in for you and how you can use it to make the greatest impact on your life. So let's go ahead, let's get started. Let's take a look first at the blessing itself. Honesty. I am fair and honest, and that attracts fairness and honesty into my life. Okay, so Cancer, the energy that I'm getting with this is kind of interesting. It's almost as if you could have had some situations, especially, over the last few years since Pluto was in Capricorn, or you could have especially just recently just kind of like had this energy of people not telling you the truth or being forthright with their feelings, right? It may not be that they necessarily lie to you, but kind of an energy of holding back on sharing how they truly feel. And I feel like this is an energy where you are stepping into allowing yourself to share your truth, okay, in an honest way with somebody and hoping that maybe or somebody else is sharing their true feelings with you, but it's a sense of both of you having this open communication is the energy I'm getting there. So it's perhaps a conversation that you're having with someone in your life. It could be family, friend, romantic. It could be your boss. It could be a client. It could be a coworker. Somebody that I feel like you feel like there's a wedge between the two of you. It's not maybe that you're not speaking to this person or something, but it's the energy of feeling like you're not communicating clearly and honestly with each other. Like that sense, that intuitive sense. I feel like if you're intuitive, you kind of like know that somebody is holding back. They're not sharing exactly how they feel about a certain situation. And when we have that intuitive energy that somebody's not being completely honest with us, right? It puts us in an energy of concentrating more on perhaps trying to figure out what it is that they want to say but they won't say, or walking on eggshells, right? Or getting anxious about what it is that they would like to share with you. So let's take a look first at the overall energy. Faraway places. Yeah, get ready for new horizons and giraffe spirit. See the big picture. So I feel like there's something here where, honesty is coming into play, where you're understanding that if somebody can't be forthright with you, can't share their emotions, their feelings, even the good, the bad, the ugly, it doesn't matter. It's kind of like you're understanding that you're seeing the big picture of how this has played out in your life, perhaps since childhood. Maybe you grew up in a family where, you didn't share the family secrets with anybody outside of the house, right? Or perhaps, you kept secrets from your parents, like you didn't want them to know that you were not doing well in a class or something in school, and so you kind of held that back from them. I know when I taught 4th and 5th grade, that was kind of the age where kids would start like forging their parents' signatures on the test that they didn't want their parents to see. It's kind of that type of energy where you're fearful of sharing how you feel because you're fearful of the reaction. And it to me, it is that almost that little child, that inner child fear of being afraid that you're going to be overly judged or scrutinized by somebody if you share how you truly feel or the direction that you would like to go in. Perhaps you're wanting to move away from somebody, or you're wanting to go in a new direction, but you're looking at the overall picture of your life and recognizing that if you share that goal or that wish, that dream with somebody, that there's going to be consequences that you are going to have to deal with. So let's go to the tarot and see, because this is a blessing. Let's keep this in mind, Cancer. This is a blessing of honesty that I feel like is giving you actually clarity in a certain situation. allowing you to see. Yeah, this becomes a much more equal, balanced relationship. And once again, it doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. It's understanding that when you have this conversation, when you allow yourself to get whatever it is off your chest that you would like to share with someone, right? And also at the same time, get what it is that they would like to share with you. It takes this into a different look at this. It brings, oh my goodness, the Wheel of Fortune and the world. I think for some of you, you are kind of like moving in a new direction, but it's moving in a good way. It's understanding it's not moving because it's a beautiful energy, not moving because of fear or not moving because of conflict. It's really kind of like allowing, like I feel like the two of you or whatever the situation is, you're allowing each other to go into new directions, right? But with an energy of love, not an energy of conflict or disagreements. But it's also understanding that both of you have something to say. I think if you're resonating with this, this is a situation where it's somebody in your life that you're actually on the same page, and yet at the same time, you're not sharing your feelings. So however you're feeling in a situation, I feel the other person is feeling the same way, but it's like neither one of you actually want to say the words out loud. And it could be that you want to either move forward together or you both want to move in different directions. So let's take a look at what the tarot is. Yes, there's great inspiration here because there is this sense of finding out some type of, it's kind of like asking yourself the truth of the situation, okay? How you truly feel about the situation. And then also having this inspiration to have the conversation with somebody. And it doesn't mean that you have to start the conversation. It could be that the other person wants to start the conversation. But there's a sense here with the Ace of Wands that somebody's also wanting a fresh start. So it could be the sense that you want to get back on track, but it's kind of like moving forward as we move forward together. It's a sense of being open and honest with each other, no longer hiding your feelings from each other, right? Out of that fear. And I feel like there's a deep sense of inner child healing here, which is beautiful because it really does seem to kind of like almost go back to your childhood where you were always concerned about what it may mean if you shared your truth with somebody, right? Yes, and here you are. You have the Queen of Cups and then the Emperor energy. The Emperor energy here is I'm going to control my emotions. I'm not going to allow this person or this situation to derail me from what it is that I want. But here's the thing, when we're trying to control our emotions and instead of allowing our emotions to flow, we're not being honest with ourselves. We're not being honest with the other person. So even if this is a situation where you're trying to hide your feelings from somebody because you're really trying to control your own emotions, okay? You're not being honest with yourself. You're not being honest with the other person. Therefore, the other person is also not being honest with you. Think about it. If your energy is off because you're holding yourself back, you're trying to control your emotions, then the other person does pick up on that. They can tell that you're trying to hide your emotions, and therefore it's just a vicious cycle. Then they're holding back their emotions. This seeing a different perspective of the situation, understanding how perhaps holding back your emotions is also having this person hold back their emotions. So intuitively, I feel like the two of you are mirroring. You could be twin flames. You don't have to be. But it's kind of like, think about it. Every single situation that comes onto our path is somewhat of a mirror to ourselves. So you have this person and you can tell they're not really telling you how they feel, okay? Whether you're talking to them or not, okay? It's kind of like there's no exchange of emotions, no exchange of feelings. And yet at the same time, you can tell that they're holding back. But the truth of the matter is that you're holding back. You're even perhaps holding back from yourself, not even being truly honest with yourself about how you feel. Kind of in this energy of, I can control my emotions. Boy, can I relate, right? It's kind of that energy. I don't want to see them I don't want them to see me cry. It is that energy of just like biting your tongue, or I know sometimes I would just like dig my fingernails, like make a fist and just dig my fingernails into my palm. It's kind of like, okay, they're not going to see me cry. I'm going to hold back those tears no matter what. But when we do that, right, we're actually hindering ourselves from feeling our own emotions. We're telling our own little inner child, your 5-year-old self, you're telling your 5-year-old self, you're not allowed to cry, right? You could have grown up in a family where you weren't allowed to cry. You weren't allowed to share your feelings. And therefore, you're holding back your own feelings. But by holding back your own feelings, you also can't be emotionally intimate and totally open and vulnerable in your relationships. And I think in a particular relationship here. So let's see what your obstacle is. Yes, you're wanting to put time and energy into the situation, into your own happiness. And yet at the same time, you're not willing. It's like you'll put time and energy into it, but you won't put your own feelings into it, your own honesty into it. It's kind of like you could be focusing on what it is that you want out of the relationship, but it's about turning it back in and asking yourself, how are you willing to be vulnerable in the situation? Yes, this is beautiful, because I feel like there's a sense here where you're not being honest with yourself about how committed you want to be to a certain situation. Because we have the King of Wands. The King of Wands is someone that is truly inspired, wants to take action, is very passionate, okay? But at the same time is not very committed. And it's almost as if you have kind of a pattern in your life of jumping from one thing or one relationship or one passion, one hobby, one job, one place to live to another, always having a new fresh idea. Oh, I have a new fresh idea, right? It's about asking yourself, why are you always looking for that next fresh idea? Is there something here where you're not being truly honest with yourself about being completely passionate about one thing or one person for a time? And I'm not saying that we don't want to try new things, right? That is part of life, experiencing new things. But it's also asking yourself, are you jumping into the next new thing in order to prevent yourself from having to be honest? I'll give you a good example. Okay. I moved a lot as a kid, every couple of years, never stayed in the same place for more than 2 years. And I didn't realize until I was an adult how that affected me. I didn't really have to commit to friendships, right? Because I always knew in the back of my mind, well, I'm going to be gone in 2 years. So I could be a little bit more frivolous in my relationships. I didn't have to go down deep. I didn't have to really, do those things that we do when we're in a committed relationship, like saying you're sorry, right? Or allowing the other person to have missteps. They don't have to be perfect, right? Allowing those things that occur in a relationship and healing them. By the time I would get to the point where I might have a conflict with a friend or something, it was time to move. So I didn't really have to ever work on committing to a relationship and healing a relationship. And it totally impacted me as I became an adult, right? This is understanding that what you're really looking for is not to constantly be looking for the next best thing, but to allow yourself to be in a committed relationship where there is that give and take of opening your heart. You see, they're showing me the open box there. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going to open my heart. I'm going to share my feelings. I'm going to be honest about how I feel. I'm not just going to gloss over it. because I know I'm going to be moving on to something new anyway, right? This is about, okay, how can I allow myself to get to that point where I can be vulnerable and honest, not just with somebody else, but also with myself, and not try to control my emotions, but allow myself to feel those emotions. And to understand how perhaps as a child, something occurred in your conditioning as a child that has prevented you from allowing yourself to let the emotions flow and also to share those emotions with others. It's preventing you from going towards what it is that your heart truly desires, the Nine of Cups. And so you could be somebody that actually kind of like gets excited about the next new thing. You know, when I was a child, that's how I was. I was kind of like, always like, oh, yeah, okay, here we go. We're moving to a new place, you know? And it was always kind of exciting, kind of actually bonded our family together, right? Because it was kind of like, okay, we had no friends or anything. So it was kind of like, okay, it's the family unit for a little bit until we get settled and start making new friends and have new activities. But then all of a sudden it was time to move again. And I feel like that's the thing, is that you're understanding that you're breaking your own heart. Here you have the Chariot, your energy. It's time to decide, are you going to commit to something that your heart truly desires, even when it gets tough, even when there's a bump in the road, even when the Chariot hits a pothole, right? Are you going to allow yourself to work with it? To understand that that is part of the relationship. It's also how we do that deeper soul growth, that personal growth that we're all seeking, that we can't just get into the Chariot and move to the next location, right? It's about understanding, okay, I'm coming at this. Yeah, this is a beautiful energy of going forward in this energy of looking for the good in yourself, looking for the good in other people. Not, you could, I don't have the Judgment card, but you could have also grown up thinking that, well, when I get to the point where I have to be vulnerable, maybe becoming a little bit judgmental about people or situations so that you can find a reason to move on, right? You're allowing yourself. Yeah, I feel like, this probably does have something to do with childhood. How you weren't allowed to express your feelings of sadness, or if you did, there could have been consequences. Or if you did, you could have been told children don't have any say. It's kind of like, when my parents would announce we're moving, I didn't have any say in it. It was part of my dad's job, right? I didn't have any say. It was just kind of like, okay, we're moving. Go get your room ready. It was really honestly kind of like that. So I think what you're doing is being kind of honest first with yourself and then being honest with somebody. This, I feel, is really somebody in your life that's really highlighting, kind of being a mirror to you right now about how do you really feel about the situation. And even if you want to, then move on, Cancer. I think it is really important for you to first feel how disappointed, how heartbroken you are. This is a lot of very difficult energy. The Ten of Swords, the Ten of Swords, the Seven of Swords, the Three of Swords, just very heartbreaking energy, right? There's something here that is really heartbreaking. And once again, even if you do want to move on, it's about being honest with your emotions, not just shoving them down and saying the emotions don't count. Your emotions do count. And that is part of your inner child, allowing your inner child to be upset, to cry, or or to be happy, or whatever the emotions are in the situation. All right, Cancer. So let's pull the Soul Truth card for you for some final advice. And I do personal readings. So if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. I'd really be honored to do a reading for you. So let's see what we have here. How can I deepen my trust right now? Yes, I feel like part of this is that, when you allowed yourself to share your feelings when you were a child, they weren't accepted. Right? You could have been told, no, you don't really feel like that, or that's ridiculous, right? It could have been blown over, or you could have received some kind of consequence. You can't feel that way. Go to your room until you change your mind. Whatever. And it's kind of like understanding that that broke your own trust in other people, but your own trust in believing in your own feelings. Because I feel like this is really like a childhood thing where you understood, you understood what was being said to you as an energy of you're not allowed to feel that way, or you're not allowed to share your feelings. And then it was kind of like, well, then my feelings must not be okay, right? So you didn't trust your feelings. Or you shared your feelings with somebody and then you were told, no, that's not how you feel, right? So it's that energy. Okay, it says trust, surrender, let go of the wheel. You can trust. You can trust yourself. Trust fully in yourself so that you can deepen your trust in others. Trust creates safety, and when we feel safe, we feel unstoppable. And this really is the energy of allowing yourself to get back into that energy of being honest with yourself about your feelings and being honest about, do you trust yourself, right? And practice trusting yourself so that you can then also trust others. We can't trust others until we trust ourselves. So practice that. And the best way to learn how to trust yourself, or to get more trusting of yourself, is to set small commitments to yourself, whether it's you're going to make your bed every day, or you're going to take your vitamins, or you're going to go for a walk, whatever it is, and then stick to it. Because when we commit to ourselves, it allows us to then be able to trust ourselves. And then we can also commit to others. Because I feel like you have a little bit of energy here of not truly wanting to commit to others, because that trust bond was broken at some time. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, Cancer. I love you so much. Thank you so much for all of your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I hope to see you again really soon. Bye for now.